Hey everyone, welcome back to another Colour Plane podcast episode. Jesse,
Jack,
good to be here. We're going to hit the ground running today. If you are watching this, yes, we are in a different space. We're in our new showroom. It's a new space we've just moved into. We're going to be moving the podcast here moving forward. So this is very much a work in progress. It will look better than this in the future.
Jack, I think we're at like 87, 86 right now. So we're climbing to that 100th podcast. Crazy that to say we're in the 80s. But this episode today, I think, is a great reminder for those small businesses giving it a crack. Definitely.
And something we've been trying to keep in mind a lot recently too. We've probably actioned a lot of things we're about to talk about recently. And so today we're going to talk about the greatest advantage as a small business. And Jesse, I'm going to leave you a little drum roll and you can tell us what that is.
You can give me the drum roll. That's a delayed drum roll.
Kind of two things at once, man.
This is anticlimactic. No, Jack, that's speed. And I would say speed and agility sort of put together.
Okay.
So as a small business, you have the ability to move really fast. Typically a small business, we'll talk about ours. We have about 3-4 people involved and everyone's got their role. So honestly, most of our decisions are made from the individual and you just do what you need to do. You don't even really need to run it by anyone because we empower people to make decisions. I think most small businesses are built quite similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speed and agility. And I guess the agility part is just trying lots of different things.
Yeah. Obviously being a small business, you're up against it, especially when you, put up against large businesses that have been around forever. They got 100 employees, shitload of money. You don't have that as a small business. So you got to take what you can get, and speed is something that you definitely have over a larger business. And that agility, as Jess was talking about. We like to think of a small business as like a small boat in a sense that there's maybe 2-3 people on it. It's small. It can turn really quickly. Not very much baggage.
Like a speedboat.
Like a speedboat. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for putting that on top. Whereas a large business is the Titanic. There's 1,000 people on it. There's 50 raft boats. Decisions have to be made through 5 different captains. I don't know if there's 5 captains on the boat.
There might be though. On the Titanic, I'm sure there was. Yeah, I think we came up with this podcast idea because we have a saying in our business which is strike the iron while it's hot, meaning if there's interest from any sort of customer or certain, I guess, stakeholder that could really help the business, you've got to act fast and sort of put things aside to make sure you strike the iron whilst it's hot.
Yep.
Because as a small business, because there's only a few of you involved, the interest doesn't live forever. We're not a massive 100-person company that we can get back to in 6 months and we rekindle that contract or whatever it might be. We need to move fast. So I think the ability to move fast, Jack, overall actually allows you to be more on trend as well, especially from a social media standpoint. As I do the marketing here, TikTok's really reinvented the game. I think things are moving faster than they ever have. From clothes, these music trends that you seem to have to be across these days. There's just so many things happening. And as a big company, I think you run the risk, if you haven't set yourself up to move fast, you definitely can be left behind now more than ever.
Yeah, as a small business, and this is probably one of our major strengths, is we feel like our eyes and ears are far more to the ground than some of our competitors with maybe what's fashionable, what colors are coming in, what people actually want. So if you are a small business, think about what those things are maybe for you in your industry. Let's break down maybe, our last 9 months at Colour Plane and some different examples of ways that we have moved quick or things that we've tried to now figure out what it looks like moving forward.
Sure. Well, I'll kick off with the socials as I do the marketing. So we've tried over 10 platforms. I'll wheel off a few off the top of my head. It's Spotify, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, email marketing. We're now with Klaviyo doing a newsletter. Shout out to Jack sending that out every Wednesday. If you're not on that newsletter, jump on our website and sign up. Go for it. That's www.colourplane.world, not .com, .world, taking over the world. We've got a Facebook group, back into the platforms. So we've tried literally nearly 10 different social media methods, and some we've given hours of thought to and some we've given minutes of thought to. So that needs to be said because you can only do so much. You can't spend all your time over 10 platforms. It doesn't work like that. But in trying lots of things, we've figured out what has worked. I guess we've thrown some darts at the board and some have stuck. For us, I would say our TikTok right now is something we know is really changing the game, really opening up our funnels. So we're spending a shitload of time on TikTok, a lot less on things like Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So that gives you a bit of an understanding. But I would say, Jack, if we were a big business, we'd have to run market research, surveys, guidelines. Like, does this fit within the brand vision? You know, does
probably sit in like 5 to 10 meetings just to get it passed. Yeah.
Oh, countless meetings where you and I have one Monday meeting where we talk about the business as a whole and how we're going and what we can improve on and what priorities are. But other than that, God, we don't have many meetings. Like, we try not to.
Yeah, I suppose we empower each other to make those types of decisions.
Definitely.
Which is again one of the values of having only 2, 3, 4 people in the business is each person has discretion to make those big decisions in those certain areas. So that's what me and Jesse have in certain things. Another example is with our products and colors. We've tried a shitload of different colors. Not really products, I would say, because we've only brought out hoodies and t-shirts so far. But a lot of different colors. We are now sampling. You know, we've probably sampled over 10, 15 products. A good example is we brought out a tote bag. It was probably one of those 2-3 day decisions like, oh, we should fuck around with the tote bag. And we brought one out. We just gave them all away for free and people loved them. So now we're actually going to bring out tote bags as part of our wholesale offering. So that's a good example. But if we were a bigger company, you know, there's probably a lot more meetings and decisions that...
you have the accountant in there, like, where do we make money on this? And just so many layers. But it's interesting. And for the long-term listeners of this podcast, they know that when you give value, you seem to get it back. And we've actually been able to order a whole lot of tote bags at wholesale now that we're confident that we will sell just because we gave them away for free. So many people reached out and like, I'd buy multiple of these or I'd love to buy them for my brand. So, Jack, I think all in all, move fast as you can at the beginning. See what works. Typically, you're not going to know what works at the start, hence why you've got to try lots of things. I must say that there's a bit of a caveat here. When you move fast, if you move too fast and chaotically, and I'm putting my hand up, I'm good at doing this, you can lose sight of lots of things. Everything gets overly chaotic, you know, and I think sometimes as a small business, you just want some form of stability. So where I'm going here and what we've done with TikTok and things like tote bags is we actually have slowed down at the end and realized, okay, there's something here that works. Now let's double down. Let's stop trying lots of other things and let's really double down into what we think is going to work.
Yeah, 100%. You put it really well, Jess. Measuring everything that you try is really important. So
huge.
You know, don't just try something and, I don't know, not test it and not measure it and not get feedback from it. Like, do things, get feedback. Yes, no, move on, something else. As a small business, that's a superpower. So guys, really lean into that if you're a small business. And that's really all we have.
Thanks, guys.